Caught out in the Canaries, Business Minister Paul Scully Instagramming from Lanzarote, now dealing with his own government's tightened travel restrictions. The Transport Secretary also seemed out of the loop. Having flown to Spain for his own holiday, Grant Shapps will now need to quarantine when he gets home. Questions for the government about whether it could have acted sooner, especially given infections began rising in the country earlier in the week.
We got the data on the spike on the Friday, we evaluated it and changed the advice on the Saturday. We couldn't have responded more swiftly and more decisively. And of course I take into account the challenges the airlines are going through, the passengers going to Spain, but we've also got to keep in our mind the big picture here.
In Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon only took Spain off the quarantine list on Monday.
Not just in relation to Spain, but generally, these situations are not cast in stone.
6 days later, that warning has been borne out. The First Minister's political opponents accusing her of ignoring the warning signs coming from Spain. Travel firms are also angry, questioning why this move couldn't have come 24 hours earlier, before the weekend getaway. Others worry that those forced to self-isolate will be left with no income, as they won't be entitled to statutory sick pay. Under the current government rules, you can get the £95 per week payment if you are self-isolating because you or someone you live with have symptoms, have come into contact with someone who has the virus, or are high risk and shielding. You won't be eligible if you're quarantining after returning from abroad.
If you are somebody who has come back from Spain today and your boss says you've got to be at work on Monday, there's not a great deal you can do if they say, well, if you don't come in, I'm not going to pay you. And if you haven't been there for 2 years, you've got very little protection against being dismissed as well.
The government says no one should be penalised for acting within the rules, but Labour isn't happy.
The government just saying, oh, we hope that employers cooperate. Well, you know, to be frank, I hope that I'll win the lottery on Saturday. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. We need clarity from government now as to whether those who are asked to quarantine, whether they'll get financial support if their employers refuse it them.
Travel businesses are also calling for support. Battered by the lockdown, this latest move may shatter what little confidence had returned to the sector. Evidence, if any, was needed that this virus will be disrupting lives and livelihoods for some time yet. Rob Powell, Sky News in Westminster.